Alicia Keys looked flawless, like she had life completely figured out. A global superstar, a musical prodigy, a symbol of strength and class. The world believed she was untouchable, but behind those Grammys and that dazzling smile hid a truth she never dared to tell. For years, while her fame skyrocketed, Alicia was secretly battling dark forces in her label, caught in a forbidden love, and forcing herself to keep up a perfect image that slowly broke her down from the inside. In her own words, she confessed that she spent years living behind a mask, one that nearly destroyed her spirit. What really happened to Alicia Keys when the camera stopped rolling? This is the part of her story the world never got to see. Alicia Keys came into the world as Alicia Augello Cook on January 25th, 1981, right in the heart of Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan, a place as tough as it sounds. Her mother, Teresa Augello, was a paralegal and part-time actress chasing dreams, while her father, Craig Cook, worked as a flight attendant, constantly on the move. But when Alicia was only 2, her parents split, leaving her mother to raise her alone in a tiny apartment at Manhattan Plaza, a building packed with struggling artists and dreamers fighting to survive every day. From those humble beginnings, a legend was born. But the price she paid behind closed doors would shock everyone. When Alicia was just 7, her mother made a bold move. She signed her up for piano lessons, hoping music could give her something solid to hold on to in a neighborhood that was rough and unpredictable. And wow, it worked. Teachers immediately saw something rare in her. This kid wasn't just talented, she had pure instinct and emotion that poured through every note she played. Music became her safe place, her escape from the chaos outside those apartment walls. Alicia would spend hours glued to that piano, losing herself in the sounds of Beethoven, Chopin, and Mozart. Her mother filled their tiny apartment with the sounds of jazz and soul, voices like Nina Simone and Marvin Gaye echoing through the room. Those sounds shaped Alicia's earliest influences, mixing elegance with real emotion that hit deep. By the time she hit 12, she was already writing her own songs, blending the precision of classical with the raw feeling of R&B and soul in a way nobody had ever heard before. Her sound was one of a kind and people were starting to notice. She enrolled at the Professional Performing Arts School in Manhattan, where she studied vocal music and theater, and she crushed it. At just 16, Alicia graduated as valedictorian, top of her class, with a bright future ahead. Around that same time, a manager discovered her and landed her a deal with Columbia Records, making her one of the youngest artists ever signed to a major label. Fresh out of high school with a record deal in one hand and an acceptance letter from Columbia University in the other, it should have been her dream come true. But behind that shiny label deal, something dark was brewing. Columbia Records would soon become the place that nearly broke her spirit and almost ended her career before it even started. When Alicia Keys signed with Columbia Records at just 15 years old in 1994, she thought she was walking straight into her biggest dream. Columbia was one of the most powerful labels in the world. Money, fame, and influence everywhere you looked. It was the kind of place that could turn a teenager into a superstar overnight. But what Alicia didn't know was that behind those fancy offices and promises of success hid a much darker reality. From the moment she stepped through those doors, everything changed. The label wanted to mold her, to strip away everything that made her her. Executives demanded she straighten her hair, wear revealing clothes, drop weight, and fit into this perfect pop star image they thought would sell. They wanted her to look like everyone else, just another young artist lost in the crowd. What they completely missed was the very thing that made Alicia stand out: her authenticity, her blend of classical grace with soulful depth, and her bold refusal to fake who she was. But the real pain went even deeper. When it came to the music itself, Columbia pushed her aside. They brought in big-name producers and songwriters, ignoring the songs Alicia had poured her heart into. Imagine being that young, sitting in a studio full of people telling you what your voice should sound like. She later admitted that she used to drive to the studio with a heavy knot in her stomach, dreading the sessions where she felt trapped, unheard, and creatively invisible. Years later, she would look back and compare her experience to Aretha Franklin's, saying Columbia messed it up, completely failing to see the raw talent they had right in front of them. Alicia fought back on everything: her sound, her image, her lyrics, her control. She refused to sing songs that didn't speak to her soul, and she refused to become the packaged pop puppet they tried to make her. She was determined to stay real, no matter the cost. The battle between Alicia and Columbia kept boiling until finally, in 1998, the label dropped her completely. For most artists, that would have been the end of the road. But for Alicia Keys, it was the start of something powerful: her freedom. Those tough years at Columbia hadn't broken her. They had sharpened her. Behind the scenes, she had quietly been building connections with people who actually got her art and her soul. She'd been working with producers like Jermaine Dupri, but the most life-changing connection came when she met Clive Davis, the legendary music executive who had just been pushed out of Arista Records and was in the process of building a brand new label, J Records. When Davis heard Alicia's music, he instantly recognized what Columbia had completely missed: a once-in-a-generation talent who could blend classical skill, poetic lyrics, and deep emotion into a style of R&B the world had never heard before. So, in 1998, Alicia signed with J Records, and for the first time in her young career, she was given something priceless: total creative freedom. No more executives dictating her image, no more forced songs, no more fake perfection. She could finally write what she felt, sound how she wanted, and show the world exactly who she really was. That freedom changed everything. Clive Davis later said working with her was a no-brainer.
So you did see the credit card statements and saw.
I will say I did. That's true.
And it matched up with the tour that Alicia Keys was on. Mm-hmm. And you were like, But you didn't suspect anything was going on between them prior to that.
Nope.
So it was a complete shock.
Totally shocked.
He described Alicia as a young woman with rare beauty, unmatched talent, and the brilliance to write and perform every single note herself. To him, she wasn't just promising, she was the most gifted young female artist in the entire industry. Free from Columbia's tight grip, Alicia poured her soul into her debut album, writing songs about heartbreak, survival, love, and finding herself again. For the first time, she wasn't fighting to be heard. She was finally ready to speak her truth loud and clear. Alicia Keys was finally stepping into the version of herself she always knew existed, the real artist inside her. On June 5th, 2001, everything changed. Her debut album, Songs in a Minor, dropped under J Records, and the music world stopped in its tracks. This wasn't just another R&B album. This was a full-blown revelation. A 20-year-old classically trained pianist pouring every ounce of her soul into songs about love, heartbreak, and longing, with a kind of raw emotion the industry hadn't heard in years. The sound was pure magic. Alicia brought elegance and grit together, delivering something timeless that didn't sound like anyone else on the radio. Then came her breakout single, Fallen, and it changed everything overnight. That song exploded, shooting straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and staying there for 6 weeks. With its haunting melody, her soulful piano, and those passionate vocals that hit you right in the chest. Fallen perfectly captured that messy, confusing feeling of loving someone who hurts you, but still not being able to let go. In that music video, iconic. Alicia, rocking her signature cornrows, sitting at a Yamaha piano surrounded by deep emotion. It introduced the world to her look, her sound, her identity. Songs in a Minor debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling over 236,000 copies in its first week. For a brand new artist, those numbers were unheard of. And that was just the beginning. Soon, it would sell over 12 million copies worldwide, going multi-platinum and proving Alicia Keys wasn't just a rising star. She was the voice of a generation. But the impact went way beyond sales and charts. Critics couldn't stop praising the album's intelligence and musical depth, pointing out how Alicia blended classical piano runs, smooth jazz textures, and R&B soul with a level of authenticity that felt effortless. Her song, A Woman's Worth, became an anthem for self-respect and inner strength, while her take on Someday We'll All Be Free showed her deep respect for music history while still keeping her own unique touch. When the 44th Grammy Awards hit in 2002, Alicia owned the night. She took home 5 Grammys, including Best New Artist, Song of the Year for Fallen, and Best R&B Album for Songs in a Minor. In one night, she didn't just win awards, she made history, proving that staying true to yourself can shake the entire music industry. At just 21 years old, Alicia Keys stood under those blinding stage lights, arms full of Grammys, and the crowd on its feet. Every award she held that night was proof that walking away from Columbia and waiting for a label that respected her artistry was worth it. That victory wasn't just about fame, it was about freedom. Her massive success gave her something few artists ever get: true creative control. And she used it to level up. In December 2003, Alicia dropped her second album, The Diary of Alicia Keys, and it was an instant classic. The album debuted at #1, selling 618,000 copies in its first week. Absolutely wild numbers. It was filled with pure emotion and depth, from the smooth storytelling of You Don't Know My Name to the timeless heartbreak of If I Ain't Got You, which would go on to become one of her most iconic songs ever. The Diary of Alicia Keys went on to sell 8 million copies worldwide, scoring her 4 more Grammys and cementing her as a true force in music. This wasn't beginner's luck. This was talent, discipline, and vision coming together in full power. By the age of 23, Alicia had sold over 20 million records, won 9 Grammys, and built a reputation as one of the most respected and influential artists of her entire generation. She was on top of the world. But fame always comes with shadows, and in 2008, when Alicia was at the absolute height of her success, a scandal erupted that stunned fans everywhere. Rumors started swirling that she was romantically involved with producer Swizz Beatz, and the headlines caught fire fast. What made it even messier was that Swizz was still married to singer Mashonda, with whom he shared a young son, Kasim Jr., born in 2006. From the outside, Swizz and Mashonda looked like a hip-hop power couple, living the dream, raising their family, and thriving in the spotlight. But behind closed doors, their marriage was already falling apart. And suddenly, Alicia Keys found herself painted as the other woman, the one blamed for the collapse of a union already breaking from the inside. The world had no idea what was really going on, but the whispers were about to get loud. Alicia and Swizz Beatz had known each other for years in the industry. They ran in the same circles, worked on similar projects, and shared a lot of creative collaborators. At first, everything between them was strictly professional, but in 2008, that all changed. Their connection started to shift. Suddenly, it wasn't just about music anymore. To this day, the exact timeline of what happened is still messy. Different people tell completely different stories about when Swizz's marriage really ended and when his relationship with Alicia actually began. What everyone does agree on is that by 2009, even though Swizz was still legally married, he and Alicia were openly together, showing up to events side by side and not even trying to hide it. The situation got even more complicated when it came out that Swizz had fathered a daughter, Nicole, with British singer Jonna Sebastian back in 2008. To many fans and insiders, that made it seem like his marriage to Mashonda had already been shaky long before Alicia ever entered the picture. But still, The drama was undeniable. Then came May 2009, when Mashonda decided she couldn't stay silent any longer. In a move that shook social media, she went straight to Twitter, pouring out her heartbreak for the world to see. Her tweets were emotional and raw. She accused Alicia of helping destroy her marriage and spoke about the pain she and her young son were going through. Mashonda later said she discovered credit card charges that matched up perfectly with Alicia's tour dates, and that was the moment she realized something was really happening between them. Mashonda wrote that Alicia had no idea how much pain she caused, and her words hit hard. Within hours, the post went viral, spreading across blogs and gossip sites like wildfire. For the first time in her entire career, Alicia Keys faced serious public backlash. Critics called her out as a hypocrite, someone who sang about respect and self-worth while allegedly being part of another woman's heartbreak. The story exploded everywhere, and suddenly, Alicia wasn't just the soulful queen of R&B, she was at the center of one of the most talked about scandals in the industry. When the storm hit, Alicia Keys made a bold move. She stayed completely silent. No interviews, no statements, no social media responses. Her decision not to speak up set the internet on fire. Some people took her silence as proof that she was guilty, while others saw it as a sign of grace and maturity, a refusal to feed into the chaos and drama swirling around her name. Meanwhile, Swizz Beatz stepped up to defend her. He claimed that by the time he and Alicia became romantically involved, his marriage to Mashonda was already over. He said the timeline had been twisted by the media, and that while Mashonda's pain was real and understandable, the story being told about Alicia wasn't the truth. Swizz insisted Alicia wasn't the reason his marriage fell apart. It had already been broken long before their love began. Later on, Alicia finally opened up about her side of things. She admitted that when she first met Swizz years earlier, she didn't even like him. She thought he was loud, flashy, and way too over the top for her taste. But over time, things changed. Their connection grew naturally, and according to Alicia, she truly believed, or maybe needed to believe, that Swizz's marriage was done by the time they got together. Whether that belief was the full truth or a way to protect her heart has been debated ever since. But no matter what the public said, Alicia and Swizz kept moving forward together. His divorce from Mashonda became official in 2010, and just months later, on July 31st, 2010, Alicia and Swizz tied the knot in a private ceremony overlooking the stunning Mediterranean Sea. Alicia was already glowing, visibly pregnant with their first child, a new chapter beginning right before everyone's eyes. Then, on October 14th, 2010, she gave birth to their son Egypt Daoud Dean, named not only after the country where Swizz proposed, but also a reflection of Alicia's deep love for African history and spirituality. 4 years later, in December 2014, their family grew once again with the arrival of their second son, Genesis Ali Dean. Through all the noise, Alicia and Swizz stood strong, building their family while the world watched and judged from the sidelines. By this point, Alicia Keys had fully stepped into her role as the heart of a blended family. Swizz Beatz already had 3 children from previous relationships, and Alicia became a loving stepmom to all of them. The kids affectionately called her by the Arabic word for mother, showing just how close they had grown. Their home was anything but traditional, big, loud, and full of different personalities. But somehow, they made it work. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and that's what mattered. Then came something nobody saw coming: peace. After all the drama, heartbreak, and public feuds, Alicia, Swizz, and Mashonda finally found common ground. In March 2018, the 3 of them came together to co-write a book titled Blend: The Secret to Co-Parenting and Creating a Balanced Family. The book told their story with raw honesty, from betrayal and pain to forgiveness, respect, and teamwork. Fans were shocked to see how far they'd come, and critics praised the book for its emotional depth and maturity. Before long, photos started surfacing online. Alicia, Swizz, and Mashonda smiling together on family vacations with all their kids. The internet couldn't believe it. These three people who were once tangled in one of R&B's most public scandals were now sitting side by side, showing the world what real healing looked like. It was a level of grace and growth that left everyone stunned. But harmony doesn't always last forever. In 2025, the peace shattered when explosive new rumors took over social media. Whispers claimed that Swizz had cheated on Alicia and secretly fathered another child. The story spread fast, fans were in shock, and the irony wasn't lost on anyone. The same man Alicia had once been accused of stealing was now being accused of doing the exact same thing in their marriage. Both Alicia and Swizz quickly denied everything. Swizz went public, calling the rumors completely false, insisting that he was devoted to his wife and family. Still, the damage was done. The internet was buzzing again, and people couldn't stop asking, could history really be repeating itself?
Baptized in boundaries, schooled in sin, divided by difference, sexuality, and skin.
Whether those denials were pure truth or just a way to protect their peace is still up for debate. But one thing became clear. Even 15 years later, the shadow of how Alicia and Swizz's love story began still lingered. Their relationship was powerful, but the past never really stopped following them. Then, in May 2016, Alicia Keys made a bold move that shocked the world. Not because it was scandalous, but because it was real. She decided to stop wearing makeup completely, and that choice sparked a massive global conversation about beauty, authenticity, and what it really means to be a woman in the public eye. The decision came after a single photo shoot that completely changed how she saw herself. When Alicia looked at the pictures, she barely recognized the woman staring back, covered in heavy makeup, styled to perfection, but completely disconnected from who she really was. In an emotional essay, she admitted she was tired of pretending, tired of performing perfection, and tired of hiding behind a mask. Going makeup-free, she said, was her way of finally saying, enough. It was her declaration of radical self-acceptance, a rejection of the constant pressure to look flawless for everyone else. Her first major appearance without a trace of makeup came at the 2016 MTV Video Music Awards, and it sent shockwaves across pop culture. Standing on stage with her bare face glowing under the lights, Alicia presented the show with complete confidence and recited powerful words. Baptized in boundaries, schooled in sin, divided by difference, sexuality, and skin. It was more than a statement. It was a revolution in real time. The reaction was instant and intense. Supporters praised her as fearless, calling her a true inspiration for women who were tired of impossible beauty standards. Social media lit up with the hashtag #NoMakeup movement, with fans and celebrities proudly posting barefaced selfies in solidarity. But not everyone was clapping. Critics pushed back hard, arguing that it was easy for someone as stunning and successful as Alicia to ditch makeup when she had access to luxury skincare, perfect lighting, and top-tier resources that most women didn't. The debate raged online. Was Alicia challenging beauty norms, or was she just speaking from a place of privilege? Either way, one thing was undeniable. She had started a cultural fire that no one could ignore. Not everyone saw Alicia's no makeup movement as empowering. Some people called her out, saying her decision came from a place of privilege. Critics argued that she could afford to take such a bold stance without risking her career or livelihood, something most everyday working women couldn't dream of doing. Others accused her of being a little hypocritical, pointing out that she still had perfectly groomed brows, flawless skin maintained by top skincare pros, and sleek hair styled by experts, all while rocking designer clothes. To them, Alicia wasn't rejecting beauty standards. She was simply redefining them, just with money and access most people didn't have. But Alicia didn't back down, not for a second. She stood firm and explained that her no makeup choice wasn't about judging or shaming anyone. It was deeply personal. She said it had nothing to do with criticizing women who loved makeup and everything to do with reconnecting with herself. To her, skincare and self-care weren't the same as hiding behind a mask. They were acts of love and honesty. Her message was about freedom, wellness, and finally feeling comfortable in her own skin. Yet the backlash revealed something way bigger, something that went beyond Alicia herself. It showed the impossible double standards women face every single day, especially women in the spotlight. Wear too much makeup, and people call you fake. Wear none, and they say you're making a statement or trying too hard to be real. No matter what women do, someone's always ready to turn it into a debate. Alicia's attempt to liberate herself ended up exposing the truth about how tight that rope really is, the one every woman has to walk under public judgment. And through it all, Alicia kept her purpose clear. Throughout her career, she's built her name not just as an artist, but as a voice for change, a woman who stands up for what matters. Back in 2003, she co-founded Keep a Child Alive, an organization dedicated to helping children and families in Africa and India who are affected by HIV and AIDS. The foundation provides life-saving medicine, care, and hope to communities in need, and through its powerful Black Ball fundraiser, Alicia has raised millions to keep that mission alive. Her beauty may have sparked debate, but her heart for justice has always spoken louder. Alicia Keys used her global fame and star-studded network to do more than make hits. She used it to make change. She raised millions of dollars through her charity work and spoke out boldly on issues like racial justice, women's rights, and humanitarian crises. Over the years, she built the image of an artist who cared about something bigger than awards or chart-topping singles, someone who used her voice for purpose, not just popularity. But even that powerful image hasn't come without controversy. Some critics have questioned whether her activism always lined up with her actions, and one major moment put her right in the hot seat. In March 2024, Alicia made headlines when she decided to host the Women to Women Summit in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia during International Women's Day. The event was promoted as a huge celebration of empowerment, filled with performances, inspiring speeches, and deep conversations about women's achievements around the world. But the backlash hit immediately. Many saw her involvement as hypocritical, especially given Saudi Arabia's complicated record on women's rights and human freedom. Even with recent reforms, like finally allowing women to drive, the country still enforces strict male guardianship laws and has faced major criticism for human rights abuses. Activists argued that by hosting an empowerment event there, Alicia was unintentionally helping the regime polish its image on the global stage. They claimed her presence gave officials the kind of positive publicity money can't buy, a form of soft power PR disguised as progress. Alicia, however, stood by her choice and fired back with calm confidence. She explained that real change doesn't happen by shutting people out. It happens through engagement, conversation, and visibility. She said that Saudi women deserve to be seen, supported, and inspired, and that empowering them meant showing up, not turning away. But her critics weren't convinced. To them, accepting payment and performing in a country where women still face so many restrictions felt like a direct contradiction to everything Alicia had stood for publicly. They saw her decision as complicated at best and completely hypocritical at worst. Once again, Alicia found herself standing right at the center of a heated debate about fame, values, and how far a superstar should go to make change in a world still learning what empowerment truly means. The Saudi Arabia controversy did more than just stir headlines. It exposed the complicated moral tightrope that modern celebrities have to walk when dealing with powerful nations under scrutiny. It raised a tough, almost unanswerable question. When a star shows up in a place with a troubled reputation, does it actually inspire change, or does it quietly lend support to a system that still needs to be challenged? The debate left Alicia Keys right in the middle of a storm that had no easy answers. But through all the noise, Alicia began shifting her focus inward, toward her own mental health, peace, and personal growth. Over the past few years, she's opened up about her emotional journey in a way fans had never seen before. In a Fast Company cover story for the magazine's summer issue, the now 44-year-old artist and entrepreneur revealed how learning to truly value herself has completely transformed her life and career. From running her successful skincare line, Keys Soul Care, to her long-standing partnership with Athleta, Alicia explained that her success today is built on a brand new mindset. "I value myself now, and for a lot of years I didn't," she admitted with raw honesty. She talked about how she finally realized that real productivity can't exist without wellness, something she had ignored in the early years of her fame while pushing herself to impossible limits. Looking back, Alicia shared how perfection once ruled every part of her life. She said she entered fame at just 20 years old, still figuring out who she even was as a person. "You're a little bit of what your mama told you. You're a little bit of what the world told you," she reflected. That mix of outside expectations and inner confusion built up walls she didn't even know she was hiding behind. Under the glare of fame, she created a strong, silent armor to protect herself from judgment. But she now sees how that same armor slowly turned into a cage. "You think you're protecting yourself," she said, "but you're actually hurting yourself." Those words showed a different side of Alicia Keys, the woman behind the legend, learning that sometimes the hardest part of healing is realizing you were never truly free, even when the world thought you had it all. Alicia Keys opened up about one of the biggest lessons of her life. She said for years, she lived by the phrase, "fake it till you make it." But when she finally stopped pretending and started being real, she felt truly free. That moment changed everything. She credits her mother, Teresa Augello, for teaching her what hard work really looked like. Growing up, Alicia watched her mom grind day and night, balancing long hours just to keep things together. From that, Alicia learned early on that success only came through relentless effort. That mindset fueled her climb to the top, helping her win 15 Grammys, score countless #1 singles, and become one of the most respected names in music. But now, her approach to success has completely evolved. As both a leader and entrepreneur, Alicia's determined to rewrite the culture she came up in. She wants to build something better, an environment where people don't have to burn themselves out just to keep up. In the music industry, she said, it was normal to start early and late and never have weekends off. That grind was celebrated, but it was also toxic. These days, Alicia is intentional about creating space for well-being, not just work. Whether it's in team meetings or major business decisions, she makes it clear. Professional success means nothing if people and their families aren't doing well. Her focus is on building balance, not burnout. Alicia also spoke with passion about mental health accessibility, calling out the unfair reality that emotional wellness has become a privilege only some can afford. The fact that mental wellness is a privilege is horrible, she said with frustration. We invest in the physical, but we don't invest in the mental. Her words hit deep, shining a light on an issue that affects millions but is rarely talked about at her level. For Alicia, advocating for mental health isn't optional anymore. It's essential. She's using her platform to push for more compassion, more access, and more honesty about what it really means to be okay. But just as she was finding her peace and purpose, another unexpected storm was brewing, and it was about to test everything she had learned about staying grounded. Then came a storm nobody saw coming. A strange video of Alicia Keys suddenly surfaced online, and it went viral for all the wrong reasons. In the clip, Alicia appeared to question the role of DJs, a comment that instantly lit a fire across the music world. The reaction was explosive. Within hours, the short clip spread like wildfire, especially among hip-hop DJs who felt personally disrespected and completely blindsided by her words. The video racked up thousands of views before suddenly disappearing. According to All Hip Hop, the clip had originally been posted on their Instagram account, but was quickly deleted after Alicia's team reached out, insisting the footage was fake and AI generated. Her reps claimed it was part of a wave of digital manipulation targeting celebrities, using advanced editing to twist their images and words. Some fans believed the explanation, but plenty of others didn't buy it. Behind the scenes, whispers started circulating that told a totally different story. According to sources close to the situation, Alicia had recently been working overseas on a project with the EDM collective Swedish House Mafia. And according to those insiders, the now infamous comment wasn't aimed at hip-hop DJs at all. It was supposedly directed at the EDM scene, which often relies on pre-programmed sets, heavy production, and button-triggered performances instead of traditional turntable artistry. But once that clip hit American social media, context didn't matter anymore. It looked like Alicia was taking shots at all DJs, and the internet did what it does best: explode. Hip-hop DJs across the country fired back, feeling completely disrespected by one of the industry's most respected artists. Only after the outrage hit its peak did the AI explanation surface, calming things down just a little, but not enough to erase the doubt. The timing was almost too perfect, and for many industry insiders, it didn't quite add up. Everything, from the leak to the deletion, seemed to fit a little too neatly. That's when people started whispering that maybe it wasn't some rogue AI deepfake at all. Maybe it was just a bad strategic move that spiraled out of control. Either way, the damage was done, and Alicia found herself once again at the center of controversy. This time in a digital age where even truth itself can be hard to recognize. Alicia's team stood their ground. They swore that viral video was completely fake. They doubled down on their claim that the clip was an AI fabrication, no matter how real it looked or how much buzz it caused. But the drama didn't stop there. To make things even messier, Funkmaster Flex, a legend in the DJ world, posted the same clip just a couple of days later. His version stayed up, and it's still online today, fueling confusion and endless debates over what was real and what wasn't. But Alicia didn't waste time dwelling on the controversy. She had bigger things ahead. In 2025, she's busier than ever and stepping right back into one of the spotlight moments that helped define her as a modern music icon. On Tuesday, May 20th, Alicia Keys made her grand return to The Voice, appearing in the season 27 live finale, a moment fans had been waiting for. Her connection with The Voice runs deep. It all started back in season 7, when she joined as a battle advisor for Team Pharrell. Her natural mentorship and calm power instantly stood out. Then, in season 11, she took her place in that famous red chair, guiding artists with the same soulful wisdom that made her a star. She came back again for season 12, where she actually won, and later returned in season 14 for another run. Even after she officially stepped away from coaching, Alicia remained one of the show's most beloved figures, popping back in for a surprise guest appearance during season 21, where fans lit up the internet with excitement. But walking away from TV didn't mean slowing down, not even close. Alicia's been expanding her creativity into new worlds while balancing family life with full force. One of her biggest and most personal projects came to life on Broadway, a powerful musical called Hell's Kitchen, inspired by her own childhood growing up with her single mother in the 1990s New York City. The show first debuted at the Public Theater in 2023, earning glowing reviews before transferring to Broadway the following year. Alicia poured her heart into it, writing every song, mixing brand new pieces with reimagined versions of her biggest hits. Directed by Michael Graff and written by Christopher Diaz, Hell's Kitchen became more than a musical. It was Alicia's story retold in music, rhythm, and raw emotion, a full-circle tribute to the place that made her who she is. The Broadway production of Hell's Kitchen turned out to be a massive hit, earning 13 Tony Award nominations and putting Alicia Keys right back in the center of cultural conversation. It wasn't just a musical, it was a movement. And it proved once again that Alicia could turn her own life story into something bigger than entertainment, something transformative. Art has also become a huge part of Alicia's world beyond music. Together with her husband, Swizz Beatz, she's built an extraordinary collection of works by some of the most powerful and celebrated Black artists of this generation. Curated by Kimberly Grant, their Dean collection became a major touring exhibition across museums in the U.S. throughout 2024. The tour celebrated creativity, culture, and community, everything Alicia and Swizz stand for. To go along with it, the couple released a stunning art book titled Giants, Art from the Dean collection of Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys, a visual masterpiece showcasing their passion for Black artistry and their commitment to uplifting others through creativity. But Alicia didn't stop there. She also shared more of her truth with the world through her deeply personal memoir, More Myself, A Journey, published in 2020. In it, she opened up about her struggles, her growth, and her ongoing mission to live without masks, to be completely authentic, no matter who's watching. That same spirit carried over into her business world too. Her skincare and lifestyle brand, Keys Soul Care, launched in December 2020, was born straight from her no-makeup revolution. For Alicia, beauty and wellness aren't separate. They're one and the same. When you are true to yourself, your authentic voice pours out, she told Forbes. Keys. Soul Care became more than a brand. It became a message about ritual, self-acceptance, and nurturing the skin, mind, and spirit. From Broadway to art exhibitions to entrepreneurial success, Alicia Keys continues to rise, evolve, and inspire. She's still creating, still pushing boundaries, and still guided by the same authenticity that once changed her entire career and the way the world sees her. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Alicia Keys' powerful journey, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Tell us what moment from her story inspired you the most. And stay tuned for more stories about the icons shaping our world today.